Welcome to the week 6 update of the 100 book challenge. This video is a little bit late, a couple days or so. I got a touch behind this week. But here's the update, and today, instead of just showing you some stuff on the board, I'm actually going to take you inside my tracking spreadsheet and also the 100 book challenge weekly tracker and show you exactly where I am, exactly where revenue is up to this point, then if I've broken even, what my cash flow is, and we'll dive in and take a little bit deeper look at all of that. So let's go to the computer and let's see where I'm at. All right, so here we are in the weekly tracking calculator for the 100 book challenge. If this is your first time looking at this sheet or you've lost it, want to get it again, click on the very first link in the description below or just go to the 100bookchallenge.com and there's a link there. You can download this sheet completely free. It'll take you to Gumroad and then it'll say put in a dollar amount to download. Just put in 0 there unless you want to throw some extra money in there, but you can just enter 0, click download, and you can get this sheet completely free for you to be able to put in your own numbers here that I'm about to show you and figure out how much money you could be making doing the 100 book challenge. So right here we've got the first page open of this sheet, and these are the numbers I had originally put in that I was hoping for, estimating for this challenge. So I'm going to take a look and see how close I am to these numbers. So starting inventory, of course, at the beginning of this challenge, I put 0 because I'm doing this starting at 0 for the challenge. Then books per week, my goal was 100. Average buy cost, I was estimating around $2. Inbound shipping cost, I was estimating about 35 cents a pound. Weekly turn rates, I was estimating what I thought was a touch high at 6% each week. That's 6% of inventory being sold each week. That's in Amazon's active inventory. And then average sales price also I thought might have been a touch high, but I put $20 for that. So if we scroll down a little bit more on this first page, you can see sales and cash flow. So sales is what is estimating, doing this for an entire year, what the first year of sales would look like at these rates right here. Now, first year of sales would be somewhere around $73,000, and then total cash flow, or mainly profit, would be around $28,000 in that year. Then the second year, once you hit the equilibrium point where you're basically selling 100 books a week and you're listing 100 books a week, sales would be around $102,000 and profit would be around $44,000. Now, just for reference, let's change a couple of these things and see how it affects it. Let's say your average buy cost is $1, and let's say your average sales price is actually more like $19.50, and your turn rate's a little less at 5%. Let's say your shipping's maybe a touch more, 45 cents a pound. All these numbers down here are going to be adjusted, so it's a little lower in sales, and profit's going to be a little lower. And if you increase this, let's say back to 6%, that actually makes a pretty big difference. Now we're back up closer to 72% and the $31,000 in the first year. And the buy cost made a big difference there in the cash flow bringing home, because $31,000 there back when it was a $2 buy cost, it was $26,000 profit. So, of course, the cheaper you can get the books, the better, the more profit you're able to make with them. But my original numbers that I had in here was $2 a book, $20 average sales price, 6%, and then 35 cents per book at 100 books per week. So let's go into the weekly tracker section down here and see what's actually been happening. So the spreadsheet gives you a week of buffer since you're not actually going to be listing books the very first week. You're going to be getting books and listing them at the end of the first week. So the target right here is 100 books. The first week I actually listed 103 books, so I'm 3 over what my goal was of 100. Second week I listed 101 books out of my goal of 100, so now I'm a total of 4 over the goal. Then 114 week 3, 123 in week 4, 105 in week 5, and then this past week was the very first week I actually did not hit 100. I only went out and found books for about 4 days this past week and got to 97. So I was -3 this week, but cumulatively, I'm still 43 books over my goal of doing 100 a week. And the funny thing is actually my profit from week 6, even though I only got 97 books, was about $300 higher than week 5 when I got 105 books. So it's a good goal to try and get 100 books, but that goes to show you even 97 books can be worth a lot more than 105. Just depends on what books you're getting. Then here we can go to actual items sold. The very first week, I listed and sent these off at the end of the first week, so they didn't actually get to Amazon until week 3 or the beginning of week 3. So no books were actually sold. The tracking spreadsheet shows that things start selling in week 2, which they probably won't. They'll probably be actually starting to sell in week 3. So sales was -6 then because I was estimating 6. Week 2, I sold 18 books, then 34 books, 36 books. And this number is actually off right here, the 31 books right here. The spreadsheet, or at least the sales numbers that I was getting these from, is tracking it from Sunday, I believe, through Saturday or either Monday to Sunday. So it's tracking it as 31 books as of Thursday, and it's making the week start, or end, I should say, in Saturday or Sunday. So this number will actually be significantly higher. Hopefully it'll be closer to 40 or 45 books this week and continue to keep climbing. So cumulatively, I'm 35 books over what I was expecting to be at this point in this challenge, and I've listed 46 books over, so it would make sense that I'm over the amount of books that I've expected to sell as well. And then here are the sales figures. I'll take a better look at this in the sales or tracking spreadsheet, but $0 sales for the first week, 387. Week 2, technically end of week 2. 575, 850, and then 602. And again, this number is a little bit lower because it's tracking it partial week, not the entire week, the way I got these sales numbers. And then over here on the spreadsheet, this is going to be tracking your cash flow, basically numbers back from Amazon. But we'll take a better look at this inside the tracking spreadsheet. So let me open up that. And we're going to go to source dashboard right here. All right, so this is specifically all the metrics from the very beginning of this challenge up until this point, from strictly the 100 book challenge. So you can see up here at the top in this orange color that my total cost of inventory up to this point was $1,244. And the average buy cost was $1.97. So my initial projection of $2 was pretty much spot on, just a couple cents off of what my average buy cost turned out to be. Then total list price up to this point is $13,000. And the average list price of a book is $20.76. So it was also very close to that projection of an average list price of $20, a little bit over there, which is good. You can see over here my total sales so far is 119 units. And total revenue up into this point is $2,413, with the average sales price being $20.28, which is actually very good since we're still kind of a little bit early on, and books started getting listed a little bit later, like I said. To be almost at this average list price is actually really good because normally the cheaper books that are selling quite often are going to sell first, and the more expensive books that maybe sell a little less frequently will sell later on. So it's actually very good this number is up to almost exactly what the average list price is, because those more expensive books are actually starting to sell quite early on. And then refunds, there's been 2 refunds. Technically, I've only had one person request a refund, but I refunded a little bit of money myself because I might have mislabeled a book. Someone said there was a couple cuts on their cover of their book that I did not put in my description, so I gave them a little bit of money back, and they changed their feedback, which was nice of them. So $16 worth of refunds, nothing I'm worried about out of the $2,413 of revenue. Then if we look over here in the expenses, we can see everything laid out. Inbound shipping is $315 I've paid for shipping so far. Amazon's fees is $2,000 or $1,090 out of the total sales that have happened so far. No inventory disposal, and then cost of goods sold of the 119 books. Those were worth $242 cost of goods sold. So my total expenses is $1,649. So technically, I am profitable at $747.66 with the 60% ROI, but I'm still cash flow negative. If you look right here, cash flow is still negative. It's actually catching back up. This next week, it should be cash flow positive. But I think it was somewhere around $900 last week, negative cash flow. Now it's negative $253, so it's going up quite quickly. But I'm still cash flow negative because every single week I'm spending more money on books. Those books haven't been listed and aren't active yet, and so they're not selling yet. So there's always that cycle of spending more money each week until that catches up in sales. Then you can be cash flow positive. I actually just had the biggest deposit from this challenge, deposited yesterday, I believe, at around $850 from Amazon. So I am getting payouts from Amazon, and I will be cash flow positive very soon. Technically, I'm profitable, but as I said, I still haven't recouped everything up to this point since I'm still spending every single week. But this coming week, that should happen. So a total of 631 units listed. I have a couple more units. This last week, there's about 8 or 9 books that got taken off or branched off that I decided to wait to send until next week. So 631 books have actually been listed to Amazon. 119 books have sold. 514 of them are still in stock. Now here's where we can see the momentum in the sales. If you can see all of the month of March, the total sales was $961. And just the first 2 weeks of April is at $1,452. So that momentum of the listing of books and more books becoming active, more and more are going to start selling, and this number should continue to climb to get us closer to that goal of the $10,000. And also we can see the average sales price here. In March, the cheaper books were selling first, so the average sales price is about $18.49. And then $21.67 is actually the average sales price for the month of April so far. Scroll down a little more. 436 books were listed in March. If you're thinking somewhere in 4 weeks, 100 books a week, that looks about right. And then we're 2 weeks into April at 195 books listed. 52 books were sold in March, and then 67 have been sold so far in April. This is just tracking total inventory. And then let's look at this turn rate right here, because that's something we projected that has a big effect in what we're actually going to make for this challenge and what you'll make in your challenge, depending on what your turn rate is. So let's disregard this number right here. It's very high. The reason this number is high is because up until March, we had zero inventory for this specific source for the 100 book challenge. So what the spreadsheet is doing is it's taking zero starting inventory and 400 whatever we ended with in March inventory, dividing it by 2, and then figuring out the turn rate based on the number of units sold. So it's actually higher. This month is going to be spot on since it's taking actual inventory of whatever the 430 was, and then it's going to take that number divided by what I've done so far to give me this turn rate. So 14.9% turn rate so far for the month of April. That's somewhere around a little over 7% turn rate, which is better than I was expecting. And that has the biggest effect on what the profitability is and how much we're going to be able to turn of this inventory and how quickly we can go through it. So I'm very happy with the over 7% turn rate of April, and we'll see if it keeps that up, especially since April tends to be more of a slow month for most people. March, April, May-ish tends to be more of a slower months. So to have the better than average turn rate, I'm very happy with that. And then here's just our cash flow numbers. You can take a look at that. Inventory snapshot and cumulative items sold. We don't really need to take a look at that. So that's the biggest thing I want to keep track of is the turn rate right here. How many inventory, how many units I'm listing every single week. Average sales price. And then what our actual sales are. So the $2,413. Now, I didn't mention this before, I kind of did. This right here that I'm looking at is the tracking spreadsheet. This is the tracking spreadsheet that Caleb made. I'll also include a link to this right below the other link in the description below. This is a paid tracking spreadsheet, but it does a lot of things in it. As you can see down here, you can see all the metrics from a single source just by typing your source name up here. You can see your weekly dashboard, sales data, sold items, turn rates. You have a huge profit and loss statement, income statement, everything you can pretty much imagine, all broken down so you can see if you're actually being profitable. You can know your numbers, know what's working, know which books maybe you should stop buying, which books you should buy more of. And the cool thing is you can also see, based on sales rank, which books are selling. Let's say you list a book at a sales rank of over 2 million, you can see what percentage of those books sell that you've listed that are over 2 million sales rank. And you can see maybe is it a good investment to keep buying books at a higher sales rank, or are most of those ending up not selling? Maybe should I cut back a little bit? So this spreadsheet gives a really good overview of the health of your Amazon account and basically the health of your business overall, so you can see what to do more, what to do less of, etc. So I'm happy where I am in the challenge so far. I think all my numbers, I'm a little bit ahead of where I was projecting I should be. I'm happy with that, and we'll see if it keeps going that way. But the almost $2,500 sales in the first month and a half is good. The average sales price is above what I was expecting, turn rates, and everything else. And so it's pretty accurate actually with here. So if we put in, let's see actually, let's go back to here. The average list price is $20.76. Let's say that happened the rest of the challenge. So $20.76. Average buy cost was $197. Turn rate was a little bit higher at, I think it was like 7.4% is what it actually came out to be so far. Inbound shipping has been somewhere around this. That's probably pretty accurate still, about the 35 cents per book. And average, I think I've been averaging somewhere close to, I believe, 108 books a week. So let's put 108 books a week and then see what happens here. So if things keep trending the way they are now, sales for the first year would be around 89,000. Cash flow back from Amazon for the first year would be about 37,000, or cash flow minus the cost of goods sold, so $37,000 in basically profit. And if you did this for an entire 2 years, the second year would be closer to $52,000 profit and then $116,000 in sales, which is a pretty nice. Like I said, last week or the week before, I only spent about 10 hours to do the 100 books. This past week was probably pretty similar actually, because I was only out for 4 days and I didn't have a ton of time. I happened to still get close to the 100, didn't get all the way there, 97 books. But it was probably around 10 hours as well. I didn't track my time as closely last week. And I'll get into this current week when I do the next update video, but it's going very well so far, and I imagine I'll be even doing less time this week. So to be able to have a business that theoretically you could be making around $52,000 a year, I'm spending around 10 hours a week doing this just on the side. That's very good. That's more than just a simple side income. That's a full-time income for a lot of people. And I'm not doing anything extra special. I don't have any special sources. As I've said before in these videos, I'm literally just going to libraries and thrift stores. I'm keeping extra close attention to when I'm going to a source, how often I'm repeating a source. I talk to the employees and figure out when they put their books out. Like I said, I'm looking at the labels and the tags to know if I've already scanned the books in the past or if they're new books, old books, etc. So I am doing everything I can to make it more efficient. Hopefully we'll build some relationships where I can actually get these books a lot easier than I currently am. But even at the current pace, even doing what I'm currently doing, this has some very good returns to it, even already in the challenge. But just imagine doing this consistently every week for a year, how much that extra income could do for you, could do for your family. For those of you still in it, maybe you're not getting 100 books a week. Maybe your goal was 50 books a week. Maybe you get them a touch cheaper. Maybe your average sales price is about the same. Let's say you have a normal turn rate of like 5.5%, something like that. Even doing 50 books a week, which hopefully take around half the time, 5 hours spent a week doing books, and you can get $15,000 more in profit for that year. That's definitely more than a vacation. That's a couple of vacations for you. That could be a new car. That could be $15,000 of student loans or any other type of debt you have paid off. $15,000 in savings, a down payment or partial down payment for a home. So even doing 50 books, don't think you have to do 100 books to be successful at this challenge. Figure out what's possible for you, what's available time-wise in your schedule, and commit to maybe just doing 50 books a week if 100 sounds too much, or even, let's say, 25 books a week. All of the variables staying the same. $7,000 extra dollars in that year. Again, that's multiple vacations. It's a lot of debt paid off. You can put that towards a lot of things, just spending a couple hours a week doing 25 books a week, going out once a day. You could find 25 books in a week. So don't just think of this challenge as you have to do 100 books a week. You can change it. If you happen to get less, don't think you failed at it. You're still moving forward. You're still being consistent and listing things to Amazon. And that profit can still be there at the end of the year for you to do what you need to do with. So I hope everything is going well in your guys' challenge. I hope this was maybe helpful. I know there's probably some things I got wrong in this overview. I probably misinterpreted some things, but hopefully you got a better understanding of where I am, so you can kind of put it up against to where you are right now and see how the numbers compare, where they're different, where they're better, where they're worse, and maybe improve your sourcing based on it. So I will give you guys a better update next week, and I'll hit that 100 book mark this coming week and hopefully go a lot over that. But keep up the work, keep up the scouting, and I'll talk to you next week.